Hey guys, it's Nick from F150LEDS.com. Today we've got our 21 F150 Ford Series truck here in the shop, and we're going to be having some fun installing this 180 watt CREE XTE LED bar here right in the bumper. Now it gives a great integrated look, and this thing is extremely bright. The camera probably can't capture how bright this is, but it looks fantastic, and it's definitely going to light up the night in front of you. The install is pretty easy, and we're going to show you how it's done right now. Before we jump into it, please take a quick second to hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps other Ford owners just like you find our content. Thanks, we really appreciate your support. Our bar will fit all models of your F-150 2021 and up, but dependent on which grille pattern you have, which grille type, you know, whether you've got XLT or Lariat, etc., does determine which brackets that you need to use. So in this case, we've got an XLT here, and you'll notice on this particular grille and grille type variant that there's a large protrusion here at the base right next to this white valance. Now, if your grille has this, you're gonna wanna use our tall brackets and the lower circle opening. Now, if your grille is a Lariat, like I mentioned earlier, or a higher trim, you're gonna notice that this lower protrusion is actually raised up away from this lower valance. And if that's the case, you're gonna wanna use our lower profile mounts. Using the correct bracket is going to get you that built-in appearance that's going to look fantastic. Now that we've got the correct bracket for our F-150 selected, let's go ahead and mount them to the bar, ensuring that the base of the bracket is underneath the LED bar itself. So let's use the included hardware to tighten the bracket to the bar about 80%. And then we'll repeat for the other side. With our brackets installed on the bar here, let's go ahead and dry fit it onto the valance and into the grille. So you're gonna wanna make sure that your bar is perfectly centered here with your Ford logo, and that your mounts, your brackets here, are sitting flush on the valance, and that you're not bound by anything here up in your grille. And once you're satisfied with the position of your bar, you also wanna check the yaw, so you don't want this to be further out than this side. And then we're looking good here and even. And once you're happy with the placement, we're just gonna go ahead and mark off these three sides of our bracket here. Using some electrical tape, you can use masking tape. You really could even just mark the center hole, but this is a more universal method, and it's a little bit safer in case an error were to be made. And once we've got our bracket location marked here by this tape, we'll be able to move on to the next step, which is simply popping this valance off and mounting the bracket directly to it. The first thing we need to do to remove this valance is simply remove these two 7mm bolts using a ratchet or wrench. Then you'll be able to pull on the edge of it away from the truck, and it'll pop loose just like that. Now we'll repeat on the passenger side. Now that our valance has been released on both sides, we'll be able to pull it directly away from the truck, like so. Once it's released, we'll be able to mount our bar directly to this valance. Now this step may feel like we're going backwards, but removing our brackets are going to make it much easier to get them mounted directly to our valance. Now we'll be able to set our hardware directly on top of our valance and line it up with our tape so that we know it's in the right location. Using a Sharpie, we can mark it. Using a 5/16 drill bit, we can drill through the top layer of this valance. Now we can repeat on the other side. Now using the 10mm bolt, nut, and washers, let's mount our bracket directly to the valance. Once this side's complete, we will repeat on the driver's side. Now that we've got both brackets installed and ensured our bolts are tight, we can remove our tape, reinstall the valence on the truck, and then mount our LED bar. With our valence installed, now we'll be able to mount the bar right to our brackets using the included blacked out hardware. Once we do that, we'll want to make sure all our bolts are fully tightened, and we'll be able to route our harness up through the grill itself. With our bar mounted, we'll be able to run our harness here up through the grill. And we're going to bring it out the top so that we can get into the engine bay. And you want to make sure that you don't route it through your vent system if your truck is so equipped. You just work your way up through. And then there's an opening here at the top that we're going to bring our connector through, just like so. Make sure there's no excess slack here. We're going to roll it across, and you can kind of tuck it up under this rubber grommet just to kind of hold it in place. Make sure slack doesn't fall back into place. And then we're going to make a connection here on our fully waterproof IP68 connector by making sure that we've got our pins lined up. Make sure we fully seat our connection, and then we're going to bring our lock ring collar over in place. And by sealing that, we're going to compress those rubber grommets and have a complete waterproof connection. First, we'll connect our positive lead. So using an 11 socket, you can remove the nut here on the terminal, and then we will place our ring over the post and replace our size 11 nut here. Use your wrench or socket to tighten completely. Then we'll do the same on the opposite side of our battery for the ground terminal using our black wire and a size 10 socket. Okay, now all that we have left to do is hook a switch up to our harness so that we can control the bar. Now you've got a few different options here. You can use our wireless receiver kit that adds strobe function. You can use this alone or in tandem with an in-dash switch. Today we're just going to be installing the in-dash switch, but we'll post a card above for more information on this wireless receiver. All right, now also we have two different switches. We're not going to be using our standard switch today. We're going to be upgrading to the in-dash switch, the premium in-dash switch. So all that we've got to do is run this harness inside the cab of the truck so that we can make the connection to our switch. And to do that, there's a rubber grommet that's hard to show on the camera, so we'll try to post a picture, but you'll just peel back on the edge, run our harness through it, and then reseal the grommet, and then we'll be able to make our connection inside the cab of the truck. Now you get to decide where you want to mount your new switch, but before we drill through for our flush mount, we got to make sure there's nothing on the other side. So you'll be able to just pull down on this trim piece. It's just got some push-in compression tabs, and they'll release. And you just want to make sure, look on the other side, that you're going to have an opening like we see here, so that we can mount our switch and not be worried about damaging anything that's behind this plastic trim piece. So now what we need to do is take our 7/8 circular bit here, and we're just going to center it up. Okay, now that we've got our hole made, we'll be able to take our premium switch. We're just going to take the lock ring off. So slide it off the back like so. And then just go ahead and take it off the harness connector side. Now we're going to go ahead and run this connector through our new hole. Go ahead and put the lock ring back on, like so. Thread your switch into place, and then push it up through. This will be a little tight, and that is what you want. You don't want this thing moving around once you get it installed. Okay, now we're going to slide our lock ring over all our cabling here and tighten it down over the threads on the back side of our switch. Once we've got that tightened all the way, we'll thread this end of our harness connection side down our steering wheel column, and we'll be able to connect it there to our harness. Before we do that, let's push our dash cover panel here back into place. with those compression tabs. There we go. Now we'll make our connection in our footwell here to our harness, and then we'll be done. Now we can take our new in-dash switch connector here and plug it into the harness side. Okay, and then as we can see over here, we've got our blue ring light, which is going to look awesome at night and match our Ford OEM lighting. And this is when it's in off mode. When you press the button, it stays depressed and turns green, letting you know that the light bar is active. I can definitely see the light is on out there, so we are good to go. So that's all there is to installing our 180 watt CREE XTE Paladin bar here on your 2021 and up Ford F-150 series truck. It looks fantastic. It is extremely bright. The camera can't capture it, but it's definitely going to turn night to day in front of you. It looks great on the truck, whether it's on or off, and we highly recommend it. You can check it out at F150LEDS.com, where you'll find all of our custom-built LED lighting products built specifically for your Ford F-150. We truly appreciate your support and look forward to seeing you there. Thanks, guys.